Algebra. We are moving on into unit number 3, which is all about equations, which introduces variables, right? Eventually we'll be solving for a variable, but we're going to start with talking about just kind of mathematical expressions, okay? Which is our first definition. What is a mathematical expression? Define expression in the mathematical sense. Anybody? Let's start. How does an expression differ from an equation? Compare those two. Yeah. Right. So an equation has an equal sign. Okay. It's saying these two things, these two sides are the same. An expression is basically just a mathematical statement. A mathematical statement. There's nothing to solve for because you don't know what the value of the expression is. Once you give it value, once you give it an equal sign, then it becomes an equation, and then we can use opposite operations and blah, 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 blah. Okay? But for right now, we're just going to focus on mathematical statements. And the reason why word problems can be so difficult, like I understand, last unit we talked about fractions and why they can be challenging, but word problems can be challenging too because there's so many different ways to describe the main four operations. There's a lot of ways to say you can add something or subtract something or multiply something or divide something. So today we're going to talk about kind of some of those words that mean these operations. Variables will be part of it too. What is a variable? What is a variable? I know that you are very able to answer this. Just saw that just now. Variables?
Like the things that are like letters.
Okay, so it's a letter that represents what? A number. It's something we don't know. Okay, so a variable is an unknown value, and it is usually a letter. Okay, we use a letter to describe this unknown value that we don't know. And sometimes when we have a variable, I'm going to give you something to plug in to it. I'll say let n equal 5, and then you can evaluate what the expression is. Sometimes, like we're heading to PO 16, 17, 18, we're going to solve for the variable. Okay, we'll be dealing with an equation rather than an expression. It will actually be solving. But it's usually a letter. It doesn't have to be. It could be a picture. It could just be an empty space, but usually a letter. So, give me some synonyms. Give me some words or phrases that you know that represent addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And just for my own, I forgot to look at, okay, there it is. That's what I wanted to see. We're going to put this right back where it was. Perfect. Okay? Liv, Claire, what you got? What is a word or phrase, pick any of the four operations, word or phrase that means to add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Well, that's up there already, yes.
I can't pick them.
No, you can't write addition under addition. We already got that stated. Let's even get a little bit further away from just add. Get creative here. Plus. Okay, I'll take that one. Plus. Okay? Something plus something means to add. Liv, what do you got? Any of the four?
Multiplication. Multiply.
Multiply, okay, that's kind of like add. Or something like that.
Yeah, I guess you could do times.
You could do times. That is a little bit different, sure.
Can I do divide for division?
Okay, no, again, stay away from, it's so close to the original word. Let's get your, Layla.
For addition,
Sum, okay, sum. And the word sum, not S-O-M-E, but S-U-M, means the answer to an addition expression. Okay, hold on.
Subtraction is less.
So, as long as we're on this topic here, okay, sum means the answer to an addition expression. What would be the answer to a subtraction expression? Not only means subtract, but actually means the answer to.
Take away.
Not take away. Although that does mean to subtract, so we can put that up there. take away. Anyone? The answer to a subtraction expression?
I don't know.
Equals.
You are now done. What? No, quotient would be the answer to a division. Okay? Quotient means the answer to a division expression.
For subtract, you could do minus.
Okay?
Is product?
Product is the answer to a multiplication expression. But what is the answer to a subtraction expression? What? Difference. Very good. Okay? If you're finding the difference between two values, you want to know how far apart they are on the number line. And so if you're finding the difference between, say, 10 and 7, the difference is 3. 10 is 3 away from 7. You could find that by taking 10 minus 7. So when you see the words sum, difference, product, quotient, it means the answer to. Going back to subtraction a little bit, there's one in here that can be a little bit tricky, and so I want you to star it, and that is less than. Okay? Less than. Oh, I gotta calibrate this a little bit. Sorry it's so loud. And the reason why I starred that less than is that when you use that phrase, the way it's written is actually backwards. Okay? For example, if we had, I think it's further on down the page here, 18 less than 12. 18 less than 12. This would not be written as 18 minus 12. Okay? That's not how you would write this. Because when you think about that phrase less than, it's saying 18 less than 12. That means you're starting with 12 and taking 18 less than that. Okay? If you have, 3 less tacos than someone else does, right? And they've got 8, you've got 3 less than that. That means you've got 5. It wouldn't be 3 minus 8, it'd be 8 minus 3. So that less than phrase is tricky. When you see it, it's actually backwards from the way it's written. Okay? So star that one. This will show up on the test. That less than phrase is actually backwards from the way it's written. Yeah?
I'm just saying that star doesn't look like a star.
I know, sorry. I did not do well in art class growing up. And no. It's just the way it why can't there we go. That's not even right. There. Okay. Others. Words, phrases that means yes.
Divided by?
Divided by, that's kind of close to division, I think. How about the word groups? The word groups is interesting because the word groups can be applied for both multiplication and division. If we have groups of, like 3 groups of 4, 3 groups of 4 would be 12. Okay? Sometimes your teacher tells you to divide yourself into groups. Right? If there are 24 kids in the class and you're put into groups of 2, 24 divided by 2, there'll be 12 groups in all. Right? So that word groups can be a little bit tricky. Multiplication is just groups by itself. Division would be into groups. Addition, total is another one that you might see pretty commonly. What else? Oh, how about for multiplication? If we have twice something or triple something, right? If you have twice something, it's like multiplying by 2, it means specifically that. Triple would be multiplying by 3, okay? And we can do the same thing with division. If you take half of a number or a third of a number, it means you are specifically dividing by 2 or dividing by 3. Okay? Let's leave those other spots open, just in case we think of something else as we work through the page here. But basically, I'm giving you a verbal expression, and I would like you to write it numerically. So the sum of 9 and 7. What's the key word there that tells you what operation this is? Sum. What does the word sum mean? What are you adding? 9 plus 7. Boom! Okay? You don't even have to evaluate it. Right? All we're working for here is just writing this out. Recognizing what these words mean and how to represent it mathematically. Difference. What's the key word here? Difference, which means what? Subtraction. Now remember, with subtraction, you got to be a little careful, because there are times when the order in which it's presented is not the order that it's written. We saw that with less than, right? Difference, though, nothing happens. A number and 9, a number n, that's our variable. We don't know what that is, so we're going to represent it with a variable minus 9. The difference of a number and 9 would be n minus 9. What?
Oh, no, I was just thinking beforehand, and I thought that would be confusing.
Okay.
Then
The product of 3 and 6, what's the key word here?
Product.
Product means what?
Multiply.
To multiply. I'm going to use a dot to show that, because I don't want to put x and make you think it's a variable. This is the part where we kind of stop using x, right, to show that we're multiplying something, because x is a very common variable to use. So we're going to use the dot to show that we are multiplying. 3 times 6 is just going to be like that. Okay? Which is different than 3.6, right? 3.6 would be typically a smaller dot toward the bottom versus the larger dot in the middle, so we don't want to confuse those. 18 groups of a number. So here we have this word groups. In this case, 18 groups of a number, is that multiplication or is that division? Multiplication. What word would have to be there to show its division instead? Into, right? But 18 groups of a number, we are multiplying. And do we even need to put that multiplication symbol here? We do not. Okay? Mathematicians are lazy. If we can get around doing something, we do. So we decided that if we're multiplying a number by a variable, why put a multiplication symbol in there? Okay? It's not like if we're multiplying 3 times 6 over here, and I say, oh yeah, that means 3 times 6. You're like, no, that's 36, idiot. Right? But with a number and a variable, there's no confusion there. There's no number that's 1/8n. Okay? So it's understood that without that multiplication symbol there, it means 18 times n. Okay? No operation written means that you are multiplying. We can only do it when you have a number and a variable, so we don't get confused if it's a 3 and a 6. 18 less than 12, we talked about this one. This is the tricky one. I'm going to make my star better now that I'm calibrated. Look at much better star. Okay? We star that because when you see that less than phrase, the order that the numbers are given to you actually backwards. 18 less than 12 means you're starting with 12 and taking 18 less than that. That's the tricky one. Put that in a help sheet. Okay? The quotients of 15 and a number. The quotients of 15 and a number. Division, that key word, division, right? We could write this horizontally or vertically. Horizontally, the quotient of 15 and a number would be 15 divided by n, right? Vertically, remember, we can write this as a fraction, and that's actually where our division symbol comes from. A dot, a fraction bar, and a dot means division. We can write this as 15 divided by n. Okay, that fraction bar means division, yeah.
Just a question. When's going to be our next math test? Is it going to be before or after Thanksgiving?
Whether or not it's before, well, hopefully we can get in before Thanksgiving, but either way it'll be on second try, so you have time for the retake. So the retakes you have currently, units 1 and 2, we're not going to add on anymore before the end of the trimester. So, regardless of when this test is, it'll be a second try grade. Usually first try, we only get through 2 units just because it's, you know, an MEA break in there, we have the entrance exam, you know, things take up time. Try 2, we usually get 4 tests in, and then try 3 is 3 or 4. So. Questions on this so far? Okay. We're gonna skip this bottom section here. This is pretty much the same page you'll get in algebra next year, so we'll save it for future you. But on the back side, I would like you to do a few of these. I will circle which ones I want you to work on. If we don't play the number game tomorrow, it is going to be possibly the biggest travesty in history. We can do this, folks. I believe in you. I would like you to do, it says write the verbal phrase as an expression or the expression as a verbal phrase. There aren't any verbal phrases on this page. I clearly just copy and pasted the directions from the previous one. So you're writing the expression as a verbal phrase, okay? This one, what does that mean? What does that mean?
Division.
Division, how would you write it as a verbal phrase?
Division.
You can't just write the word division
Oh.
and have that be,
Divide.
or divide. What? A number divided by 6. A number divided by 6. What else could you write?
You have to write more than one.
Nope, just put in some options up here. What else could you write?
A number divided into the groups of 6.
Good. A number divided, or even the word put, I'm just going to shorten it up so I can fit it here. A number put into groups of 6, or divided into groups of 6. Good. What else could you do? Just for funsies. Let's use the word quotient. How can we use the word quotient here?
The quotient of a number and 6.
Good. The quotient of a number and 6. You could even use that half, third type of thing. What word would we use to describe dividing by 6? Half means divide by 2, third means divide by 3. What would be divide by 6? You take half of something means divide by 2, a third of something means divide by 3, a fourth of something means divide by 4. What would it mean to divide by 6? A fifth of something is divided by 5. What? 6. Okay? 6th. You could say a sixth of a number. That would also mean to divide by 6. Okay? So also, now that I've got green everywhere, I'll circle the ones I want you to do in red. So the first one, the second one, third one, this one. We didn't talk about that one on the front page. But we have talked about this operation previously, so it's kind of a little bonus one there. And then, of course, the time for review at the bottom. Don't forget about the time for review. All questions in that section must be answered. What's that?
And we finished the whole thing.
Nope, only the circled ones on the second page are what is homework for tomorrow. Like I said, if you don't play the number game tomorrow, people, you only have yourselves to blame.
doesn't do it.
What?
What if County Sawyer doesn't do it?
Anyone who's absent during a lesson, they're excused from the homework for the next day.
Okay.
That's just a standard rule. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, compliments, congratulations, and criticisms on this? Lucky CO13. All right, with gusto, folks, that's how you math.